Hey everyone, so I've had lots of questions on my Facebook page and comments on YouTube as well asking what's going on with Eva and is Eva talking and what's happening. So I've never actually really talked about this, or I shouldn't say I've never really talked about it. Of course I've talked about it, but I haven't talked about it in a long time. Eva, took Eva to a pediatrician because we were concerned about the fact that Eva was, 2.5 years old and wasn't really talking very much. She said about 10 to 15 words at most. So, of course, we were concerned, and I noticed that, she wasn't mimicking us, and I started to wonder if Eva had a hearing problem, which hearing problems have run in both our sides of the family. So it was kind of a concern to me. So I took her to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician said, let's do a whole bunch of tests to see, if there is a problem, to rule that out first, and then we can start, putting Eva in speech therapy. So we started doing all the testing, and then everyone was kind of not really mentioning about the hearing, and, was she going to have a hearing test? And I kept saying, is she going to have a hearing test? Because I've kind of wondered for a long time, since Eva was even really little, if Eva had a hearing problem. And they said, we don't think it's necessary. We think she hears just fine. And, I said, I really want her to have a hearing test. So I found out actually from a health nurse in my area that I could refer her myself to have her hearing tested. So I decided to do that, just, out of my own curiosity and just to rule that out as being a problem. So I took Eva for the hearing test, and Steve and I went together with Mila, and we went into this booth, and they had a whole bunch of sounds, and I noticed that Eva didn't hear many of the sounds that I heard and that Steve heard. So, automatically I kind of, my red flag went off again, this is kind of, a little bit more like, this is, what I'm thinking is wrong may really be wrong. So we discussed it with the hearing specialist after, and she said to me, that Eva missed many of the sounds, but they were all quiet sounds. The sounds that Eva responded to were the sounds that had a physical aspect. So anyway, the sounds that Eva responded to were the sounds that had something visual as well, not a physical aspect, a visual aspect. Like something was dancing, or there was a little birdie that was chirping, or she responded to those, but she didn't respond to sounds that did not have visual. So then she said, there's further testing we need to do to kind of see how severe Eva's hearing problem is and what kind of a hearing problem Eva has. So we did 2 other tests, and she said to me, Eva has a severe buildup of fluid behind both eardrums. So this definitely is causing Eva to have hearing loss, because Eva hears about 20 to 30% of what Eva should hear. And what Eva does hear is muffled, because it sounds like she's underwater all the time. So, of course, everything that I thought was correct. Eva has a hearing problem. And of course, if you can't hear properly, how can you learn to speak properly? Yes, Eva does say quite a few words, but a lot of words that Eva says don't make sense. And when Eva is playing around, and when Eva mimics, it doesn't sound like how it sounds if you and I were to say something. Yeah. So we, talked to the hearing specialist some more, and they referred us to an ENT. And then the ENT, when he heard about Eva and heard about what was going on, immediately said that he recommended that we got tubes for Eva to help. So the ENT recommended that we got tubes for Eva, and that Eva has surgery to put those in, and that will help to remove all the buildup of water or fluid behind Eva's eardrum. And then once that's corrected, we can start speech therapy to get her speech, up to where it should be. One thing that they mentioned to us is that if this is the problem, during the summer months we would notice an improvement in Eva's hearing, and probably an improvement in her speech, because in the summertime it helps to dry out some of that fluid. And we have noticed a huge improvement. Eva has started speech therapy, and we do have a nurse that comes to the house that helps, and I also have been doing a lot to help Eva with her speaking, and her speech has improved. She's gone from saying about 10 to 15 words to about 50 words, and very clearly saying them. So it may not seem like a huge improvement to some people, but for us it's a huge improvement. As far as, Eva's behavior and everything goes, Eva, we still have lots of temper tantrums, unfortunately, but they told us children who have a speech delay tend to have more temper tantrums because they don't know how to explain themselves. They don't know how to tell you what they want. they don't know how to tell you what's wrong. You just kind of have to guess. It's like for a baby too. You know, Eva, please give that to me. Give that to him. So, you know, it does make things difficult for me, but you know, I'm also very sympathetic that it's difficult for Eva as well. So in September, the very beginning of September, we have her pre-op appointment, and then she should be having surgery shortly after that. So we will be doing an update and let you guys know what's going on, and yeah, and when the situation is improved, we'll do more updates on Eva's speech. So I'm sorry about the background noise. Eva, stop! Thanks so much for watching.